Hello and welcome to Tech Deals. Will it play Players Unknown Battleground on a Ryzen 3 1200 overclocked to 3.7 GHz with a Sapphire Pulse RX 560? We are playing at 1080p, very low detail preset. What you're watching here was recorded externally on an Elgato 4K 60 Pro capture card, no performance loss recorded on a separate computer, MSI Afterburner for the real-time numbers in the upper left-hand corner, and Fraps was used for the benchmarking. Now, I've tested Players Unknown Battleground on a number of machines. It is not the most optimized game in the world. Many Players Unknown Battleground players know this very, very well. But this was recorded very recently in February of 2018, so it's post-launch, it's with the most recent optimizations, drivers are fully up to date, and so on. So will it play? Yes, it will. Kinda, sorta. Now, a couple of notes on the stats. Take a look in the upper left-hand corner for a second. You can see that our VRAM usage is running really close to 2 gigabytes, but it's not at 2 gigabytes, so we're not fully utilizing all of our VRAM, but it sure is maxed out when it comes to very low detail. The main system RAM isn't too bad at the moment, but then again, the battle just started, and if you look at the real-time performance number, look at that, we're at 80 frames per second. No problem, this game plays just fine, right? Well, yes and no. It does and it doesn't. And this is a conversation I've been wanting to have for a while because this is the problem with benchmarks. Game benchmarks generally focused on how fast the computer will draw the frames. How well does the game actually display the images on the screen? The truth of the matter is, it does so just fine. The images render fine, the pace of the frames is fine. It was actually quite smooth when I was playing it, except it's not. When you press the keys to move around, there's a hint or hesitation of lag there that is really, really annoying. The mouse movement was not smooth. In other words, the frames were very smooth when you weren't doing anything, but as I moved the mouse around and tried to move the character, there's just a little bit of a jumpiness that is not present on faster machines. Part of this is the graphics card, part of this is the CPU. This game just wants more oomph behind it. It'll do it, but in my opinion, on something like a Ryzen 5 1400 or a Ryzen 5 1600 or even the 4-core 8-thread i7s of the previous generation, it's a better overall situation. Even the new i5s, which are 6-core 6-thread, are better because PlayerUnknown Battleground will use more cores and threads. But in this particular case, it's not. We're being held back by the total combination of hardware. Now, I realize at the moment we're only using about 2 cores. If you look at the CPU usage, you'll go, but we're only using 50%. Well, yes, there's no players around. I'm not doing anything but just driving at the moment. There's nothing around. And of course, the graphics card doesn't help either. Better hardware all the way around. A Ryzen 5 1600 and an RX 580 would probably be the perfect ideal balance configuration for this game. This works, but it's rough, and I would not want to be in the cities on this hardware. It would really fall apart. If you were to get 3 or 4 players running around you, it'd be pretty bad. So to answer the question, will it play? Yes, it will. But it's not ideal, and you have to accept the fact that the game's responsiveness is uneven. Now, I'm not going to show you everything here because, frankly, that takes too long, and it's a whole bunch of just running around the map endlessly. In my particular playthroughs of Players Unknown Battlegrounds, not a lot happens. I generally get my gear, I drive or run around the map, try to avoid dying from the wall of energy that's constantly shrinking, and then hopefully don't get shot in the back by somebody I never see coming, which happens more often than not. It's not my cup of tea, and unfortunately, it is what it is, but my hope is that if you're a serious PUBG player and you really know the game front to back, you can take what you see here rather than just, because if you look at the benchmark chart, it looks fine. So I'm showing you this and telling you about my experience. Oh, nobody needed that fence, sorry. So hopefully you can use that to make choices as to what you should buy. In general, more clock speed, better graphics card, just gives a better overall experience. Here I have a performance chart for you. We average 72 frames per second. And again, this is why benchmark charts alone can be deceptive, because if you see that, you might think, great, no problem. Well, yes, it is and it isn't. The 1% low is 49. 99% of the time, the frame rate delivery of this game is just fine, but it's sluggish and very unresponsive. I don't find it to be an overall very great experience. I have tested this game on very high-end hardware, Ryzen 7 1800X, GTX 1080 Ti's, very high detail, played at 1440p, and it's a much better experience than this. So overall, I would say, yes, it runs, but I would strongly recommend getting a better computer than this if you can all manage it. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember to subscribe to my channel with the big huge red button directly below, questions and comments below the video, and check out the links in the video description. Links to the CPU and graphics cards to Amazon and Newegg will be down there, and of course links to PayPal, Patreon, Twitter, Twitch, and all that will be there as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.